Today on the O&S Podcast, we have Nick Dompierre. He started his career as a professional skateboarder and grew his abilities to be able to compete professionally in the X Games and Street League, and even landed himself on the front page of Thrasher magazine. He has now refocused his life on bodybuilding and insane cheat days. In this wide-ranging conversation, we talk about diet, fasting, cheat days, lifting, YouTube, and skateboarding. Please enjoy this podcast with Nick Dompierre. I am looking at your 20,000 calorie challenge.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell do you eat all that?
Mind over matter, man. Like for the challenges like that, it's a full day of just non-enjoyment. Like
just misery.
Yeah, it's terrible.
For the 20,000 calorie challenge?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that one bit.
What's the oh shit, look at that donut. Dude, that donut looks good.
Which one?
The one from 5-0? The big one?
Was it the Cookie Monster? The blue
No,
one?
it's like a Claire looking one. It's like long.
Oh, the Long John one?
Is that it?
Let me see it.
This one?
Oh yeah, that was the Ben & Jerry's like replica donut.
Holy shit,
Yeah,
dude.
that thing was over 1,000 calories.
By itself?
Yeah.
What's in it?
It was like filled with like banana cream. It was bomb.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah. But after consuming like that breakfast and then all those donuts, I was just like, I wanted no part of it. I just wanted to get it in my stomach so it'd be like over with.
Holy crap. Dude, that's impressive.
Yeah.
How the hell you take those big of bites?
It's just the bigger the bite, the more flavor, you know?
Is that your philosophy behind Team Big Bites?
Yeah, because it all started like, I was just taking massive bites and people are always asking me, dude, why are your bites so big? And then I just kind of did like a little example of like, all right, I'm gonna take this little bite. I took a bite and I'm like, it does nothing for me, like it's just like a little bit of food. When you take a massive bite, it's just saturating your entire mouth and you just get full satisfaction and full taste. And I'm like, Team Big Bites, baby. Pretty much.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so for people that don't know who you are, you're Nick Dompierre. You got a great YouTube channel that you do these like massive cheat meal, like 20,000, 15,000, 10,000 calorie challenges, and you've got your bodybuilding thing on there as well. You walk people through your workouts. What got you started in YouTube?
So I started my YouTube channel in 2015. And I was watching like other YouTubers at the time, so I had already been lifting for, say, about 4 years. And so I was learning more about like nutrition, macros. I was watching like these full days of eating, of seeing like what other like bodybuilders or YouTubers.
Who were the main guys you were looking up to?
I was watching this guy called The Online Coach. His name's Raymond Carrito. He's from Temecula, California. So his channel was called like The Online Coach. So he would do like full days of eating. And, he was like tracking macros and he was like eating all these different foods. And like, I was like, how is he able to eat all that and like look this type of way, Cause like when you first get into lifting, you think it's like, oh, chicken, rice and broccoli.
That's it.
For
like, 6 meals a day.
Yeah. Or like clean foods. And then
yeah.
This is what you have to eat. So like, that's where I was like kind of stuck in the beginning. And then I just, started watching YouTube, started seeing what other people were doing. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to try it, and like then I started messing around with like intermittent fasting and it was just working. I was just like, wow, this is cool. And then I was like, I want to film it. I want to film like a full day of eating, put it on YouTube. So
at that point, had your body changed quite significantly when you started, or were you still in the process of building?
Yeah, so I was basically cutting at that point. So I was it was like basically my first cut ever. So when I first started lifting, like I didn't cut, I just lifted, trained, and I ate. And from there, I was like, oh, I want to diet down and kind of see what my body looks like. So that's when I started my first cut. And then like I was just getting leaner by the week, and like my abs were starting to show. And I'm like, dude, there's no way like this is like my body. You know what I mean? Like that, to go from the first time of like just being like in a bulkier bear mode state, and then like you start just seeing like the shreds come out, you're just like blown away. So that's when I was like really addicted to like staying shredded. You know, I was tracking every macro to the T for so long, and like when I got lean, like I stayed at like 5-6% for so long, you know, and it like really like pulled away from the quality of my life. But when you get to that state, it's like you don't want to leave it, you know. It's like a lot of competitors, they develop like these eating disorders and body dysmorphia because that's like the state that you want to look all the time because it looks super cool.
Well, I think it's like almost like a requirement for a lot of these guys to stay at this certain level of leanness year round, especially with like social media. You know, you've got that pressure of having those like body updates and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you've got these guys out there that are constantly bragging about staying at 6% year round, but they're ignoring the side effects of that. Your body's not supposed to be at 6%, 5% body fat. Like that's not a healthy state to be in, even though they promote it that way. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, I remember when we were talking about this earlier, like when I had gotten down to like my leanest 6%, 7% body fat, I was miserable. My wife hated me. She's like, you know, you look too lean, you're grumpy. Like I felt like my testosterone was low. Like it probably was.
Yeah.
And this, like you said, the quality of life was just not there.
It revolves around food.
It literally, that's all you think about all day.
Thinking about your next meal.
Yeah. How many ounces of chicken I'm going to get in, how much broccoli. Cause like you said, like I started the same way. Like my bodybuilding journey was like how most guys anyway start out, you know, got to have the chicken, rice and broccoli, eat, you know, every 2 hours, 3 hours, you know, and just this strict regiment for a long time, you know.
Terrible.
It is terrible. It is terrible. So I can see why the allure of, you know, fitting your macros, you know, and eating the foods that you want to eat.
It becomes more fun, you know. It's almost like a kind of like a little game. You know? It's like, oh, I have X amount of macros, or you can play around with like eating less earlier in the day, and then later on at night having like a big massive feast of like flexible foods that you want to eat.
Right.
So like tracking macros and flexible dieting is pretty cool. But what I've been doing lately is just fasting. So, you know, I fast every day. And
what's your split?
For fasting?
Yeah.
Well, I'll fast pretty much 23 or 24 hours daily, depending, you know, when my last meal was the previous day. But like, you know, I'll train fasted and then, you know, break my fast and just get all my calories in one window.
Okay.
And I found that works very well for me. My productivity is higher. You know, I'm not thinking about food so much. Like I know when I eat, I'll eat. And, you know, I just get stuff done, train, and then, I just have a massive feast once per day.
What? So you're getting all your calories in one meal?
Yeah. So it's like anywhere from like 3,000 to 3,200.
Okay.
That's just kind of like a range where I am. Sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more.
Okay.
And that's, and I'm able to maintain this body composition as of now with doing, you know, cheat days once per week of like anywhere from like 8 to 10K.
Yeah. And I want to get into that because that's what blew my mind when I went on your YouTube channel, is just how much. I remember when I first saw one of your videos, I texted you, I was like, bro, how the fuck do you eat this much food? Like, I don't get it. It seems humanly impossible. But so how long have you been doing the fasting, and kind of what got you into that?
I've always been kind of doing like intermittent fasting for pretty much like since 2015. So I was like playing around like intermittent fasting, where I'd, you know, train early in the morning, but I'd train fasted and then kind of like break my fast post workout, you know, whether it be like say noon, or sometimes it would be like 8 a.m. or something. But I would just always try to have like an eating window, and then I mess around with just having like eating whenever I wanted. But I just kind of like the intermittent fasting to where I could just eat bigger meals. And
explain for people that don't know what intermittent fasting is.
Okay, so intermittent fasting is basically a timed eating protocol to where you just get all your calories in a small eating window. What's most popular is like 16-8, so 16 hours of fasting and then like an 8-hour eating window.
Within that 24 hours.
Yeah, so typically people's protocol would look like, you know, noontime is when they would have their first meal, and then they'd be feeding, you know, and it didn't matter how many meals you ate throughout that window, just as long as you got in all your calories between, you know, 12 noon and then 8 p.m. And so 8 p.m. would be the cutoff time. You don't eat until, 12 p.m. the next day. So that is like the 16-8 protocol.
That seems, yeah, like you said, that seems to be the pretty standard first step for most people.
Yeah. It just makes it kind of easy for people. It's like, I just basically skip breakfast,
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people do that anyway.
Yeah. And so then like noontime, it's like instead of, consuming like that breakfast meal earlier, you get all those calories into, the next few meals. So then it's like, whoa, I'm kind of full eating like one meal. And then it's like, you have all the rest of the calories for the rest of the day. And then it just kind of makes it easier for people to get leaner because it tricks their brain into thinking that they're eating more when really they're just eating the same amount, but just in a smaller window.
Right. Yeah. So what got you into that? Like as far as intermittent fasting, was it the health benefits? Was it the lean benefits? Was it all of the above? Who did you see that was doing that? Yeah,
it was pretty much all the above. Like I stated before, when I was like watching a lot of YouTube in 2015, I was watching my friend. Well, he's my friend now, but at that time he was just like a YouTuber to me. So I was watching this guy named The Online Coach, and he was doing like intermittent fasting, and like I'd see he'd eat basically just 2 massive meals a day, and like post workout we'd have this crazy big feast of like food. I'm like, bro, how is he doing that? I thought you had to eat small meals. So I saw him doing that, and then I started experimenting, trying that out, and I just really liked it. And then just being super lean and all you think about is food, so then when you develop like the intermittent fasting protocol, you're able to just eat these massive meals and feel like sickly full at the end of the day. And,
right.
And you just love it.
Yeah.
You're just like, yes, I'm so full feasted. And I feel so good.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing intermittent fasting now?
Pretty much since 2015.
So your body composition, have you noticed any sort of changes for the good or for the worse? Like obviously you read your body, you look at it every day. What have you seen? Have you seen benefits come from that, or maintenance of the same size? Like where is your body gone from 2015 to 2019?
Yeah. So with intermittent fasting, so I've been doing that for a while. There wasn't anything that was too drastically changed in terms of like from like intermittent fasting, but what I think has really helped was doing the one meal a day has really changed like my body composition. And it's almost like I'm not trying to stay lean or like shredded or ripped. It's just kind of like it's just happening,
right?
So it's like when you're fasting long term, it's like your insulin levels are low all day. There's going to be less inflammation. So like I've noticed like intermittent fasting, it's a good protocol to follow, but like when you do some extended fasts, then you can really see the benefits, and just like how you feel, just like energy levels, like even like joint pain or whatever, because like,
well, a lot of that's inflammation there.
Yeah. So when you cut your eating frequency down, and even like once per week, I experiment with like a 36 to 48 hour fast.
Okay.
So that'll be like post cheat day. So I'll eat like, anywhere from like 8 to 10K on a cheat day. And then the next day, like I won't eat at all. So say for instance, Friday, film the cheat day. Saturday, I wake up, I don't eat at all. I'll just, fast, drink some water, or even like I've been experimenting with some like dry fasting. So like I won't have any water whatsoever Saturday. And then Sunday will come, and then, I'll start hydrating a little bit because I'm going to train. And then I'll break my fast like later that night, depending on when I had my last meal Friday, and then the timing on Sunday. It could be anywhere from like 40 to 48 hours.
Okay.
So it's just fun to experiment, and like fasting is seriously like the key to health and like longevity, and like it can really like cure like any diseases or any like skin conditions or pretty much anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy who's really respected in the nutrition community. His name's Dr. Walter Longo, and he came up with the fasting mimicking diet. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I've heard of that, yeah.
So it's he promotes like, okay, so for somebody like you who's in great shape, very, very lean, doesn't have a lot of health issues, doing like a 5-day fast every 6 months or so for the autophagy effects, for just the overall cell rejuvenation effects. And there's been like empirical data that they've been able to see in the lab, at least in mice, of the health benefits of these things, is even just anti-aging. A lot of that is what attracted me to fasting. I do the same thing as far as a split. I don't have a 10,000 calorie Saturday.
I
think I really want to do one of these. At least let's do like a sit down. Let's eat 5,000 calories in one meal or something like that. That may be a walk in the park for you. I don't know. That would be a lot for me. But yeah, I do about a 23-hour fast. So, I'll wake up. I'll go to the gym, get my workout in, and I'll fast all day. So I don't do like any sort of like post-workout meal. It's just the way my schedule is right now. I really can't work out any other time. So that's kind of the time that works for me and my family. And I'll fast all day, and I'll eat when I get home. And I break my fast with like a Rhonda Patrick smoothie, which is just a smoothie filled with all your micronutrients for the day. I'll have that with some eggs and butter and sourdough bread, almond butter, and just a really like micronutrient dense meal. And then I'll have kind of whatever I want, like a really, really high calorie dinner, like a ribeye steak with like pasta and cheese, stuff like that. That really just, is very, very filling.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, like, I've been doing that for probably like 6 months now. I've never been happier. Like you said, I have the same effects as far as like just feeling more focused throughout the day. I get shit done. I don't have these constant interruptions of like every 2 hours my timer going off. All right, time to eat some like cold chicken and broccoli and rice, and just feeling miserable and still feeling hungry. It's just not breaking that fast throughout the day. At first it was 16-8 split. I would break it around noon, 1 o'clock. And then I find myself like just finding it easier to just push that back, because there wasn't really any great options. I stopped meal prepping because I just hated it. I got so sick of just like eating cold chicken all the time. But this was the question I was going to ask you is like, do you think, because I wrestle with this question a lot. I think that with having the foundation of really, really strict eating for me, it was years, 3 or 4 years of really, really strict eating in the beginning of my bodybuilding journey. And I don't know how long yours was as far as like strict eating of like chicken, broccoli, and rice, and the progress that I saw in that time with that diet. Do you think somebody, coming off the couch could see the same effects with a similar diet to what you're doing now? Or do you think that they need that foundation of long time of just like eating really strict 2 hours every 2 hours? What are your thoughts on that? Because I go back and forth on it. I have this like great foundation of strict eating that really made me disciplined, strict regimen as far as when I work out. I don't know if I would be where I am today without those years of strict discipline in my diet. What are your thoughts on that?
I really think it is pretty important to know like what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, and just have like a good flexibility about that. But I really think if people just kind of switched over to a fasting lifestyle opposed to like eating like these small meals every couple hours, like the results are going to be so much better opposed to like, say if you're dieting, if you can switch to a fasting lifestyle and eat 1 meal per day, or even like, alternate day fasting, then the results are going to be crazy. And it's going to be so motivating to just keep on fasting. Because I have like some clients that are like, one of my clients is over 400 pounds, so for me to put him on a type of meal plan or like a protocol of eating every 2 hours or something, because that's what's preached out there, that's what you should do for fat loss to boost metabolism, it's all pretty much bullshit.
Right.
So I have him on a fasting routine, and he's basically eating every 72 hours. So that's like, he has like pretty much a refeed meal to where he stays consistent, he stays on track, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to keep fasting. And like during the fast, he's like feeling okay, but when it's like, all right, we're hitting like a 72-hour mark, and he's like, all right, I just kind of want to eat. So then I'll have him take like a refeed meal. He'll take that meal, and then boom, back to fasting.
What does that refeed meal look like?
It's basically just meat and vegetables. So it's like maybe like a 12-ounce ribeye. So you're just getting in some fat, some protein, and then like a bunch of veggies to basically just add some fiber in there so he doesn't get like constipated or bloated or whatever. So that little refeed meal he'll take and then go back to fasting. And one of my clients, he's lost 24 pounds in 5 weeks. So for like when you're like that heavy, you don't want to be losing 1 pound per week. Like what kind of like, it's not very motivating, but when you see the scale dropping, it's like anywhere from like 5 to 10 pounds per week or something, you know what I mean? It's like, it's very motivating to keep doing it. Obviously in the beginning you're going to drop a ton of like water weight in the beginning, but like when you're fasting, you are straight burning pure body fat if you are fasting without like consuming any like artificial sweeteners, like diet sodas or whatever. Just stick to straight water and like put some electrolytes in there. Then you can seriously fast for a long time if you have a good amount of body fat. You know, for someone like me that's a lot leaner, you know, fasting over 2 days or over 48 hours is a little harder because it's like you're running out of fuel. You know what I mean? So it's like if you have a good amount of body fat on your body, you can fast for a long time and like get crazy results. So I've found that that's been working very well for a lot of my clients that have a lot of body fat to lose. And then just some other clients, I'll just have them on just like a 1 meal a day protocol if they're just, you know, training consistently every day and are already leaner.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know in the a lot of the lab studies, they will take mice, for example, and they will give them both the same amount of calories in a day. The mice have a very similar routine as far as, you know, going on the wheel, you know, active lifestyle. But they give them the same amount of calories. Now, one mice will have free eating to when they can go and have food whenever they want, and then they'll time restrict the other mice. And what they found was that the mouse, even though they both had the same caloric intake, body composition, active lifestyle, the mouse that was on a time restricted eating gained, I can't even remember the percentage, maybe like 20% more muscle, 40% more muscle than the mouse that was just free eating. And so they relate that a lot to, you know, people that eat every couple of hours and people that do time restricted eating. People are like, oh, well, you're going to lose. I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time. Like, you're going to lose all that muscle if you don't eat. You got to feed your muscles, bro. It's like there's such a saturation of bro science and what's standard, and like whatever the bodybuilder that you're looking to in the gym, you know, that's going to tell you, oh, I don't even count macros. I just eat chicken and broccoli and rice. And so people follow that because they see the results, you know, in there. But I don't feel like people take it a step further and really exploring the other options out there, because there are a lot of really sustainable, more enjoyable options. Like for me, fasting has been the best implementation of my diet that I've ever done. I don't count macros anymore. Like I just literally just eat till I'm, you know, full, you know, and I feel great. But I'm not as big as you. I'm not trying to build my body anymore. I'm just like more on like in maintenance mode. I'm cruising, you know, I'm just happy with where I am. But I wanted to talk to you about not just the weight loss benefits of fasting, but we talked a little bit about there's actual like biological benefits to it all. What are some of those things as far as like autophagy? You know, the cell rejuvenation of fasting.
Yeah, so pretty much like when you fast, it's basically giving your body the autophagy effects of just like regenerating cells, cleaning out dead cells, you know what I mean? So like when you're just frequently eating, you're spiking insulin, and that basically shuts down all of like autophagy effects and all that. So and so another thing too is like the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is basically your sewer system, like your sewer system. So if that's not moving correctly, then everything's going to get backed up, and that's where like diseases formed, cancers and all that. So if you have like a good flowing lymphatic system, which is like cutting down your eating frequency, you know, because like when you're constantly eating, you know, it does like add stress to your kidneys and all your organs, so they're constantly working and working and working. So when you add fasting to the mix, it's like almost giving them a break to kind of cool down and chill. Because like I was actually like, what kind of got me towards like fasting longer too was just even like the health benefits of like kidney function too. Because like I did get some blood work done like I did get blood work done mid-July of last year, and so like my creatinine kinase was like super elevated. So like, you know, I was eating more frequently. I mean, I was still doing like intermittent fasting, but like, you know, eating multiple meals throughout the day, you know, high protein, which, you know, there's a lot of like information that like, you know, high protein diets are like stressful on the kidneys, but you know, like
yeah, but those aren't 100% as far as like their absolute, as far as their findings, because there's plenty of people that are out there that are pushing like, oh, too high protein can you know, cause cancer and all this kind of stuff, and it's not 100%. Like that's the hard part with a lot of this stuff is like there's not like empirical data that really shows that to be true. Yeah.
So that's what I heard. So like I was like, all right, I need to improve my kidney function. So then I started like experimenting with like fruits only for a while. I did like no protein at all, you know, and people were just like, bro, like you're going to lose your muscle, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't care. You know, I'm just experimenting, you know, like I didn't bring up like, no, I have like poor kidney function, you know, or my creatinine kinase is elevated, you know. I was like, whatever, I'm just going to try experiment. And then from there, like did fruits only. And then like I started experimenting with like the plant-based diet. So like, you know, not consuming animal protein, just like having like a plant-based diet of just like lots of vegetables. And I was still consuming like some like imitation type foods of like, you know, animal products or whatever.
Okay.
I wasn't like a diehard vegan, you know. I was just
so like tofu stuff or like
tofu or like those fake meats or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all right, but like I missed like real like steak and meat. So after that, I experimented with that for a little while, and then like I was doing fasting, and I started to implement meat again. So basically 1 meal a day. So then I started doing 1 meal a day, and then ended up going to get like my kidney function test again, and it basically came down by like it was up at like what was the range? I forget what the range was, but it came down to like a 2 something, but before it was like over like 400, so it was like extremely elevated. So I didn't know if it was maybe because of the frequent eating, you know what I mean, like eating too much without like really fasting and just doing one meal a day protocol. And so it came back even better, you know, even though I was consuming a lot of protein. So again, going back to like, you know, high protein diets are stressful on the kidneys. I really just think it came down to just tightening up my eating window. And
just the meal frequency as opposed to the actual protein intake.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I really feel like fasting and like 1 meal a day has really improved like kidney function, and then just even overall like getting my lymphatic system flowing and draining, you know what I mean? Because like when the lymphatic system gets backed up, it's basically like your kidneys are not filtering. So like your skin is like your largest kidney. So it's like if your kidneys aren't filtering, it's going to start coming through your skin. So like I was having like skin issues. I had like kind of like spots like on like kind of like my neck and like my shoulders and like my arms. And
this was when you were doing your vegan diet?
This is around that whole entire time. Like I was doing that to try to, and like the fruits only to try to like fast and like kind of like fruit fast to like detox and like cleanse out my body. Cause you know, I went to my doctor and like, oh, just take a Lotrimin, that'll clear it up, you know, and like it did nothing at all.
Right.
You know, they didn't say anything about my diet or anything.
It's so astounding to me that you can still go to a doctor that just doesn't know shit about nutrition.
Yeah, they just want to prescribe you something and send you on your way.
It's unbelievable. Now, not to demonize all doctors, because there are a lot of really good doctors that, you know, focus on nutrition, but there is a fair amount of them out there that really do not start with that. That should be, I feel like, step one for any sort of issues like that. It's like, what does your diet look like? You know, and going through that as opposed to just prescribing a pill and saying, hey, take this with some water and go about your day. It's really discouraging sometimes. And then even just some of the stuff that I've seen friends of mine that have gone to a doctor and like stuff that they'll prescribe is like, they're still using the food pyramid for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I was really messing around with that, and I like learned about like kidney filtration, kidney health, and so, you know, every morning I was like waking up and I was like peeing into a jar to see if like my kidneys were filtering, because you can see like sediment settle on the bottom if your kidneys are properly filtering.
Okay.
And so, you know, for a while they weren't, and then like, you know, fasting and then doing 1 meal a day, then like I started to see like sediment at the bottom. So like literally I would pee in a mason jar and then, you know, let it sit for like say 24 hours or something. And there would be like, you know, 3/4 of an inch of just like sediment.
Really?
So that's basically lymphatic waste. So now my kidneys are filtering again and it's clearing out. Like my skin conditions are gone. And I was actually on thyroid medication for years. How long? I was like 3 or 4 years I was on thyroid medication. But the beginning of 2018 is when I was like, you know, I'm just going to stop taking it. So I stopped taking the thyroid medication, and then that's when I started doing like cheat days and stuff too. So like whatever, in the beginning it was a little bumpy, but I was like, I don't want to be taking a medication for the rest of my life, And so like, I had ups and downs of feeling good, but then it's just like my thyroid function started to improve. I got thyroid labs done and they came back the best that they've come in years, and it's like, bro, like, these doctors just want to keep you on medication because it's like a kickback for them. It's like they never look at the underlying cause of like, okay, why is your thyroid function poorly? Why is your thyroid functioning poorly? They don't look at the underlying cause. So I really think that fasting has really been a huge benefit to me in my health, you know, in terms of like, I'm not on any medications whatsoever. Like my relationship with food is amazing. It's like, I'm not thinking about it constantly. It's like when I eat. And then also even just having like the cheat day once per week, it's a day where I will eat seriously whatever I want. Yeah. But
I found when I was in the throes of like counting, just being really strict with what I ate, I found myself being afraid of food. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
I was afraid to eat a banana because of the amount of sugar in it. Yeah. And not this lack of understanding of the way food interacts with your body. And that relationship with food can be really, really damaging, to be afraid of food. And it was funny because my uncle, he's this senile old guy. He's really, really funny. Did drugs his whole life, so he's just a crazy person. But he'll sometimes give me like these little gems of just information. He's like, Ricardo, food doesn't make you fat. Eating a lot of food makes you fat. And so that kind of stuck with me, and it's really true, because before I wouldn't eat a ribeye because it's too much fat. It's gonna make me fat. Mm-hmm. And now I eat a ribeye 3 times a week, just with fasting and implementing that and understanding, like, even when we were talking about this earlier, like our ancestors, they didn't always have food. They would go days without food sometimes, and then they would just gorge themselves. So I wonder if that's kind of like this like biological setup of like our bodies are already like used to just having these longer fasting windows and then just eating 10,000 calories in one sitting because you didn't know where your next meal was coming from. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like our bodies have not updated, evolved from that time period to even now, as far as understanding like food is always available, but our bodies don't know that. They don't know that food's always available. So they're constantly in this like state of, we're going to take what we need and we're going to store the rest. But understanding like these fasting windows and how that all works is pretty amazing. And I think the reason that there are so many health benefits is because that's the way our bodies were designed. This is the way they've evolved over tens of thousands of years. So it's really interesting. I wanted to talk about your fast or your actual cheat days. You said you started your YouTube channel, just to start with the bodybuilding aspect and food and stuff like that. When did you actually implement your cheat days?
I started doing cheat days at the beginning of 2018. So pretty much February of 2018 is when I first started doing cheat days.
What made you want to film them?
So I was already, a few years into filming content for YouTube. So I was doing like training vlogs, days of eating. And then around that time, I was doing basically the keto diet. So this was the beginning of 2018.
So you've tried out everything.
I've tried every single diet.
How'd your body respond to ketogenic?
I really liked the mental focus and like brain function and just like alertness, clearness. But in terms of like performance, like it just wasn't there. Yeah. Like I tried to skate and just like I had zero endurance whatsoever. But like my strength training was okay because it was like, all right, I can sit down and stand up, basically squat and, still be able to move some weight. But in terms of like trying to skate and be explosive, it just was not there, So I started doing once per week, I'd do like a cheat meal. So I'd have like, a 5,000 calorie cheat meal at the end of the week. And, I was filming those and I put those on YouTube. And then I filmed my first cheat day with my homie Nate Figueroa. So he lives in like Fort Lauderdale. So I was in Cali for a bit, and then I came out here, linked up with him, and like stayed with him for a few weeks. And we filmed like first cheat day together. I was like, bro, let's film a cheat day, because he's very big on YouTube too. He does like a lot of like food challenges, cheat days, and all kinds of stuff.
Is he a bodybuilder as well?
He works out.
Yeah.
He's in shape and stuff. But yeah, so like I was already doing like, you know, the cheat meal at the end of like, you know, the week for my keto thing, but I'm like, bro, I want to do a full cheat day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so we filmed like a first cheat day together, and I was like, bro, that was so much fun, bro. I'm gonna do another one, you know? So then like, and then even like, I just saw the amount of like traction that like my YouTube channel got from just doing a cheat day, because, you know, I've been making content since 2015, and it's like, you know, I film and edit all my own videos, and it's like, you know, you want people to watch it, you know? So it's like, when that cheat day video got like a lot of traction, there was like a lot of people, a lot of views, a lot of likes, a lot of comments, you know, more subscribers were coming in. I'm like, bro, this is so cool.
People are fascinated with that. I mean, I'm fascinated with it, as far as like seeing guys that are in as great a shape as you, just eating McDonald's, donuts, massive burritos and cheesecake. People, like, we have an obsession with food. Like, our culture is just obsessed with food. We have food, great food, some of the best food in the world at our fingertips at all times. And so I think that's why, God, I'm trying to remember the one eating challenge YouTube channel that like blew up. It was these guys would like go to McDonald's and Burger King, and they make like these like fast food lasagnas. Do you remember that one? TJ, what is that one?
Epic Meal Time.
Epic Meal Time.
Oh,
Do you remember that one?
Yeah. They do gnarly stuff.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And that was like the first time I ever seen like something like that on YouTube, like these big like eating challenges and stuff like that. These guys just like, downing tens of thousands of calories in one sitting. It's just, we have like an obsession with food.
Yeah.
But so you saw a lot of the traction start to take off when you implemented these cheat meal.
Yeah. So like,
where were your subs at that point?
I was at 9,000 subscribers. So like I went down there, filmed like the first cheat day with Nate, and then that pretty much, it put me over into 10K. And so then the next weekend we were like, oh, let's film another cheat day. You know what I mean? I'll do like a 10,000 subscriber celebration cheat day. So then like I ended up hitting 10,000 subscribers, and then I think we did 3 cheat days while I was there, you know, for that time frame. And then I came up to Sarasota to like visit my aunt and stuff. And then I was filming another cheat day that weekend in 50 Donuts. Like that was the first time that I went there, and I'm like, bro, this donut shop is amazing.
It's legit.
Yeah, and it's like, that's like my favorite thing to start with is donuts. So from there on out, I started just filming cheat days every single weekend. So I just ran with it, and like it's something I really enjoy too. Like I, not only does it make like cool videos and people like watching them, it's like something that I really enjoy doing and just having fun with it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it pretty much, I gained like 100,000 subscribers in a year from the beginning of doing cheat days. Yeah,
that's wild.
So yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's allowed me to reach more people, help more people, and like, you know, yeah, I'm doing a cheat day and I'm eating all this junk food and like whatever I want, but like I'm also putting a message out there that like it's okay to eat different foods. You know what I mean? You don't have to be so strict with yourself. Like you're not going to get fat from like having one cupcake or like a donut or a burger, going out with your friends and enjoying yourself. You know, it's just showing that like it can be done. You can have a good relationship with food, but like obviously, you know, you should do some type of exercise or like resistance training for overall quality of health. But like, yeah, like the things that I do and like with eating all this food, it's like I have a really good balance in terms of like where I can keep my body composition. You know, if I want to lose weight or gain weight, I can still do that with having cheat days. It just really comes down to being consistent, and yeah, man, consistency is key.
Absolutely. How many days a week are you training?
I train, well, since I just injured my ankle, I've been just going to the gym every day.
Okay.
You know, I did take a day off before, but like I'm not training to the max like I would normally do. When, you know, I'm fully healed, you know, I'm on like a 4 day per week training split. So it'll be like upper, lower, off, off.
Okay.
So it's really focused on like main compound movements like the squat, bench press, deadlift, overhead press, chin up, incline press, deadlift,
All the basics.
Yeah, pretty much all like the main compound. So it's very taxing. So like I need rest recovery days. So
for sure.
Like Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays are like my rest days from training.
Are you lifting real heavy, or are you going more for volume?
I go through different phases of training. So my training switches up every 3 weeks. So say 3 weeks will be an intensification phase where it's like it'll be heavier weights, lower reps, and then like an acclimation phase would be like more volume in terms of like more reps, more sets, and then Yeah, so every 3 weeks my training will switch up. So it basically keeps the body guessing, but it allows you to adapt and then, switch the programming up again. So it's like with my training, like I've been progressing very well, you know what I mean? Like my nutrition's there, you know what I mean? So it all kind of correlates together.
Yeah. So I wanted to chat a little bit about what your diet, and so we already talked about, like, you do the fasting throughout the week after, post cheat meal. Are you ever concerned with like the quality of the calories that you're getting in as far as like your cheat meals, like as far as like McDonald's? And I mean, we know that stuff's just trash. It's garbage food, Yeah. Are you ever concerned with that at all, or not really?
I kind of was in the beginning. I was kind of like, oh man, like I'm eating all this junk, you know what I mean? Like, right. I know it's not good for me. But then I'm like, you know what? Like now that I started like fasting, it's just like fasting just really cleanses and cleans your body, Mm-hmm. So that's why like I'll do like, anywhere from like a 36 to 48 hour fast post cheat day. So I can basically just cleanse the body a little bit, and it just makes it easier to fast that much longer. Okay. Like if I was just, eating, say 3,200 calories every day, and then, all right, I'm going to try to do a 48 hour fast. It would be a little difficult.
It'd be hard.
So it's like when I already have all that fuel in my body, or trash or junk, whatever.
It's not all trash, but there's definitely like the McDonald's aspect of it all. But,
it's not the best for you, but just being like, I mean, like all my work throughout the week, I'm eating like clean, healthy food. I'm fasting, doing 1 meal a day. So,
well, that was what I was going to ask you. What is your diet as far as like the specific foods that you eat when you're not doing a cheat day?
Yeah, so pretty much what I'm consuming daily is, for my protein sources, it's mainly like fatty steak, whole eggs. I'll consume dairy, like mozzarella cheese. I really like cheeses. I also consume like a plant-based protein powder that's made by Ambrosia. Stuff's really tasty, really good. Like sometimes I'll have it like post-workout in a shake with like oats. It just tastes really amazing. So like I'll get home, I'll mix up that shake, and I'll just kind of be drinking it, sipping on it while I'm cooking like my meal. And then so like staple carb sources are like oats, rice, potatoes.
You do pasta at all?
Yeah, I'll do pasta here and there. Like I was doing like some lentil pasta for a while, which was really good when I was doing like plant-based diet, but there's nothing like some good old like regular like white pasta.
Well, and the glycemic load is not bad. I mean, there's eggs in oil and pasta, so it definitely lowers the glycemic index on a lot of those things. Yeah. So that's like my main carbohydrate source. I love pasta.
Yeah.
Like I eat that so much.
Yeah, pasta's amazing.
Yeah.
And and like some days if I want to get flexible, I'll have like whatever flexible foods I would want to fit in there, like some Greek yogurt with like some Jello pudding mix. It makes like a good snack with like some rice cakes or something. So that's pretty much, and also a lot of fruits. Like my diet consists of a lot of fruits too. So like those oranges, bananas, apples.
Fruits make you fat, man.
Yeah. Too much fructose, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you keep that, you keep your diet really clean throughout the week.
And I pretty much just have a calorie goal of like anywhere from like 3,000 to 3,200 with a protein goal. So wherever fat falls, it falls. Wherever carbs fall, it falls. Like I'm not specifically tracking macros, but they're just being tracked as I track my food, because it's good to know like what I'm putting in my body, how I'm feeling, look back at the data and be like, oh, if I'm feeling like crap, maybe I'm not eating enough, so all the data's there, how much I'm sleeping, which days I did cardio, what training I did that day, and just, the more data you have, the better.
What kind of cardio do you mess around with?
Cardio, I just walk. I'll just do some walking daily, and I found that like it doesn't inhibit recovery whatsoever. It actually probably help recovery. Say if you're training legs, just to get the blood moving, but it's not taxing on your central nervous system. So okay. It's either when I'm skating, but like my typical cardio is just walking. Yeah.
And how many times a week do you do that?
I try to walk a little bit every day.
Every day?
I mean, if it's like raining, I won't do it. But if I'm in the gym, maybe I'll just hop on the bike for say like 20 minutes,
Just to get something.
Yeah, just get the body moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on any supplementation other than the protein powder that you talked about earlier?
So High Performance Nutrition is owned by Sean Turbati, which I talked about before. So him and Mike Rashid are business partners with Ambrosia. So Ambrosia is like the new protein of HPN, but it's under ambrosia, so it's called Planta. So I'll take Planta protein, C2 creatine, which is by HPN, and then there's a supplement called NAD3, which is basically like an anti-aging supplement for like cellular generation and stuff. So I take that supplement as well as...
what got you into NAD?
Well, Sean Torbati, he's like the owner of HPN, and I actually met Sean a few years back because I went to meet up with, I don't know if you ever heard of the guys called, it's called Myo Detox.
Yep.
They work with like a lot of like performance athletes and stuff in terms of like deep tissue massage, getting like range of motion back. So I met those guys, and I was meeting up with Vinny to have like some work done on my wrist to just get some more range of motion on it, because like I broke it like a few years back, just like broke my scaphoid, so my range of motion isn't the greatest. So I met up with him, and he's like, oh, we're at this place, which was HPN. He's like, can you come down here, like I'll get some work done here. Vinny was just basically bringing his table to like different places and just like working on people. So I went down there, and then I met Sean for the first time there, and he's like, oh yeah, try out this product. So it was like NAD3, and like, I didn't know much about like supplementation or anything, and he was just kind of explaining to me like the benefits of it, and I started taking it. And then I ended up like hitting up Vinny like a month later. I'm like, hey, like Sean looking for any athletes, just the way he described his products and like the passion that he had about them, it just like really like drove me to like seek more interest into the brand and the company and stuff. And so then we set up a meeting, started working together, and all of HPN supplements are really quality, and they're all like natural stuff, plant-based protein. There's no like artificial like sweeteners, it's used by like it's sweetened by like monk fruit, the protein.
Okay. Yeah.
And then in terms of like the pre-workout that he has, like I used to take pre-workouts. I haven't taken any stimulants in a while, but like just recently, like I started like I had like a Monster or a coffee, but like I had like full 4 months of just like no stimulants, no caffeine. But I was taking like the pre-workout, which is really good. So it has like beta-alanine, citrulline malate, BCAAs. What else does it have? Creatine. It's fully clinically dosed, so it's all backed by science and all that stuff. So the pre-workout is really good. But in terms of like what I'm taking now, it's just basically creatine and plant protein here and there, and then Niagen every
Do you
morning.
take the creatine before your workout?
Timing doesn't matter. Like I was taking it like in the morning while I was fasting, but like creatine can...
I was going to ask that. Can it kick you out of fast?
Yeah, it can basically break the autophagy effects.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is just basically when I have my meal, I'll just take it then.
Okay.
Yeah, and so even like the same thing with like the NAD3, I was taking it first thing in the morning, but I was like, I'm just gonna fast, and then pretty much like 10 minutes before I eat my meal, I'll just take the NAD3.
Right, because that makes sense. Because anything that the kidneys have to process, it could essentially kick you out of fasting. Correct. Mm-hmm. So that makes a lot of sense. And it's probably not good to take pills on an empty stomach anyway, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine for the NAD3.
Is it? Okay.
But, it's supposed to be taken in a fasted state.
Okay.
But typically everyone would take it and then have a meal, say 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, switching gears, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your past as a skateboarder. Mm-hmm. So for people that don't know, you're a professional skateboarder. You were on the cover of Thrasher, which I remember seeing that magazine when I was younger and really into skateboarding. And you were just like in all these like skate videos, like those old school, like, early or late 90s, early 2000s skate videos that just were everywhere. I wanted to talk about what got you into skateboarding, especially coming out of Boston. Like, is the skateboarding scene up there pretty big?
Yeah, so skate park opened up near my house. What year was that? I think it was it 95? I think it might have been 90. No, it was later than that. But anyway, like I forget what year it was, but like a skate park opened up, and like, I had a bicycle at that time, so I'd like ride over to the park and I'd see everyone skateboarding and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And my cousin had a skateboard, so I would go to his house every day after school, borrow it, and then go to the skate park all day long and just skate till it got dark out, and then same thing the next day, and I was just like hooked, so like from there I just like I really loved it, and it seriously like ran my life. Like that's all I thought about, that's all I dreamed about, was like skateboarding. So I kept skating, and then I started skating with like more people, and then like people that had like sponsors and stuff, and like people that like went out filming, and I was like, oh, can I go with you guys? So like go out and like filmed like my first trick, and then just got in the rhythm of just filming, every time I went skating, and then stacking clips and like sending out videos, stuff like sponsor me tapes, and then I got sponsors, and then it just kind of like worked my way up and like turned amateur, and then eventually turned pro, and then like I've been traveling, had like shoes with my name on them, boards, clothing, and
really,
yeah, it was really, really cool, man.
How old were you when all this was kind of taking off?
Pretty much like teenage years. So like, I started traveling a lot when I was like 17 after I graduated high school.
I was going to ask, how did school work into all that?
Yeah. So like, I would kind of travel when I could, I would take some time off of school, and my teachers were cool with it because I did really well in school, because I figured like, all right, I'm here, I'm in school, I can't go anywhere. And if I just do my work, get it done, and get good grades, then I could skate more, and like my mom's not going to bother me, the teachers aren't going to care. So, I was able to travel a bunch while I was in school, but after I graduated in 2004, that's when I just started traveling a lot, and then that's where like skateboarding really started to like blow up for me in terms of like, getting more coverage, getting in magazines, being in videos, because I had nothing to do but skate. That's all I did.
You competed in the X Games as well, right?
Yeah, I think 3 times.
That's wild.
3 times in the X Games. Yeah. It was really cool.
What's that skate culture like? I mean, this is a very foreign industry to me. Like, what is the vibe within the skate culture? So
skateboarding, it's pretty much like one big family. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's homies. You meet another skater, and it's like, what up? It's almost like you don't forget. You know what I mean? Because you can just tell by somebody's style or the tricks they do, and it's like everyone has their own unique style. So like, the way I do a kickflip is going to be different from the way you do it. I
can't do a kickflip. I tried a lot, and it just hurt my ankles.
Yeah,
quite often.
Well, it's just everyone has their own unique style.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the way somebody does a trick, it's like they could just have that one kickflip that's like, bro, whoa. It's just something that sticks with you, and when you see it, it's like, damn, that's sick. You know what I mean? So I haven't competed since like 2013, and so like I went to Tampa Pro to skate this year, and I mean, unfortunately I hurt my ankle in practice the day of the contest, but like I haven't seen anybody in years because I've been basically out of the skate game. I've been focused on my own thing, doing like fitness stuff and like modeling and YouTube, and just being back up in the mix, it was like I never left. Everyone
really?
was
just
like,
welcome right back in.
Yeah, everyone was like super stoked to see me, and like really stoked for like what I'm doing now. Like skateboarding isn't like my full-time job like it once was, but just being back up at the mix, it made me miss it so much, and like I just definitely be skating more like after this injury heals. But I was really, really pumped to skate the contest, and I just couldn't believe like I sprained my ankle the day of, like an hour before my run. I'm just like, bro, like
that's how it goes, right?
Like I backed off my training like a week and a half, 2 weeks before, just to allow for like a greater recovery. And the day of the contest, everything was just all in place, and like everything was just on. I was skating very well. Like I was consistent, and I was like, bro, like, I can't wait for my runs, and I just like sprained my ankle, and I'm like,
how'd you do that? How'd you sprain your ankle?
Well, I was skating like up the stairs, so it was like maybe like a big 4 block. So it was like, I don't know how tall it was, maybe like 36 or 48 inches, but like you had to go fast because they're a little bit longer, so you got to go pretty much like Mach 10.
Keep that real close to your face there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so the stairs were like a little bit longer, so you had to go like pretty fast to get up them. So like in practice, I was just ollieing up them, and I was going, I'm gonna do this in my run, and then just kind of piecing things together. And I'm like, oh, let me try to kickflip up them. So I kickflipped up them, like landed on it first try, but then kind of like fell backward and just kind of shot out a little bit. I'm like, all right, next try, I got this. Went back. So going like Mach 10, kickflipped up, and then caught it, but then my back foot came off the tail. And so as like my back foot caught the ground, and then my body was moving forward, so then my back knee like bent inward, and then I basically sat down on my ankle, and it was just like a crazy, like super fast, like whack, like really quick tweak.
Yeah.
And so then I got up, and I was like, it hurt really bad, and I was like, oh, let me just walk this off, thinking that it was a quick little tweak, all right, it'll be fine. But then it just started like blowing up, throbbing, so I threw it in like an ice bucket, and like they had like a little like first aid kind of people there to, you know, help the skaters and stuff. And I'm like, bro, there's no way, you know, I'm like, so I'm trying to ice it, massage it, stretch it around. And I was like, maybe I can skate later in the day in like a later heat or something. And I was just like, it's just not going to happen, you know?
Oh God, that's so frustrating.
Dude, I was so bummed.
And how long had it been since you've competed up until that point?
Pretty much like 5 years.
Wow.
Well, almost 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks. I mean, thankfully it wasn't a long-lasting injury. You said you didn't break anything, correct? Like,
yeah. So, I mean, it's getting better, but I think this is like one of the worst sprains that I had, you know, especially being like a heavier body weight.
Well, that was my next question is like, so you haven't always been a big guy. Mm-hmm. You were, when you were in knee deep and going pro and all that, what was your body composition like?
I was like 170.
170. So I mean, decent size. Mm-hmm. Did you have a fair amount of muscle, or was that more fat? Like, what did your body composition look like?
Yeah, so I always kind of had like a little muscle. Like when I was in high school, I did take like weightlifting class because it was like a class where I didn't have to like write or read. I was just like, all right, whatever, I'll just do weightlifting.
Take elective.
Yeah, so like, I mean, I had like a pretty decent physique. Obviously, I'm like nowhere where I am now, but like, and that wasn't even like a thing for me. I didn't care. You know, I just basically took it because, all right, cool, you know, I'm gonna work out. And then, yeah, so like throughout my entire skate career, I was like about 170 pounds. So like typical skate build, but I had like, you know, I wasn't like the typical skater where they're actually very, very lean. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a lot of skaters are very, almost like too lean. They kind of almost look sick just because their activity is so high. And
I mean, the athleticism of that sport is you're running, you're pushing, you're doing a lot of like explosive movements. Like there's absolutely, I mean, there's some pretty out of shape skaters out there. Let's not lie about that. But like for the most part, I feel like there's a lot of guys that are in, you know, decent shape because they have to be. Their endurance levels have to be high. Yeah.
There's a few of them that are actually like focused on nutrition. Like my friend Neen Williams, he's like really big into nutrition. He like works out as well. And like,
I would think they would perform better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like with any sport, like, I mean, that's just, it helps you perform better. Good food, nutrition, appropriate diet, you just perform better in every area of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I what is it like skating now? As far as like, you obviously in the last 5 years have changed quite a bit. You're at what, like 207 now? Mm-hmm. What is the difference in skate? I mean, do you feel like you're like top heavy? Like, I mean, what is it like on being on a board at this body composition?
Well, I mean, obviously like it didn't happen like overnight. It wasn't like, you know, I'm skating at 170 pounds and then woke up the next day, I'm 207 and then I'm skating and I just felt weird and uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Obviously, so over the years, like, you know, I gained more weight and then, you know, it just, skateboarding doesn't change. It's almost like riding a bike, you know what I mean? But definitely like when I jump down stuff, I do feel it more because, you know, I'm a lot heavier. So like the impact is much greater on like my feet, my ankles, my body. But, you know, I just kind of skate lower impact stuff, but that's what I was like really stoked on to skate the contest, you know what I mean? Because people like haven't seen me skate in a while and they're like, oh, you know, can you still skate with all that muscle, you know? And it's like nothing's really changed, you know, besides like I'm heavier and, you know, I'm not jumping down the stuff I used to jump down every day. You know, I'd be jumping down like 15-step rails all day long, you know, just like filming tricks, like, all right, cool, we got a trick and then let's go to the next spot. You know, I mean, if I did that today, then it's like I'd be feeling it, you know what I mean? Like, so I just kind of skate like lower impact stuff. Like I can still skate like, you know, big rails and stuff and all that, but like jumping down big gaps, like I don't see it like being something that could last very long for me if I was doing that, you know? So I just kind of skate lower impact stuff and I'm just really having fun with it, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, what's next for you? What is your 5-year goal, 10-year goal? Where do you see yourself moving in the next few years? What's your eye on the prize?
Over the next 5 years, I think it's just going to pretty much continue doing what I'm doing, growing my YouTube channel, growing my online coaching business, keep pursuing my modeling career. Like I did just sign with Wilhelmina Models, so I'm really excited to see like where that takes me.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. And man, just really enjoy my life and just put a positive message out there, try to help a lot of people. And yeah, man,
And you want to keep going with your skateboarding. Like you want to get back on that and get competing again. I mean,
yeah, definitely. I definitely want to skate again and just have that balance in life where I'm doing everything that I enjoy, and spend time with my girlfriend and travel and just live life, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the life. And so I always like to ask, like, as like a final question, you know, if there's a final message that you can get out to the world, you know, just one thing that you can say to everybody, you know, and obviously you've got a great platform with your YouTube, with your Instagram. What would that message be?
I think that it would be positive, be patient, and be consistent. You know what I mean? With those three things, like, you can pretty much do anything, you know?
That's awesome. I love that. And where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Nick Dompierre. I have a Twitter account as well. I don't really use it that much. But YouTube is at Nick Dompierre. My website is nickdompierre.com. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, dude, it was great having you on the show. I enjoyed our conversation. So appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime, man. Thank you.